welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to a new decade. I cannot even believe it is 2020 already. Like, where has the time gone? 10 years has just flown by. Like, I didn't even remember it being this hype for 2010. Like, I did not remember it being this hype. And like, I can't believe that we are in a new decade. It's just out of this world. So in today's video, I am just gonna be taking a look back into the last 10 years and into the last decade. I am filming this video on New Year's Day, but it is obviously getting posted today. I also took some time off work because one, for the new year, but also for my birthday. My birthday has passed and I'm a new age as well. Like, a new decade, new age. Like, I'm getting closer to 30. I just turned 29 and, you know, I have a lot in store for this year. So I just wanted to take a brief look into my last 10 years, talk about it, and just, you know, also wanted to like get you guys to think about what your last 10 years of life was like and what you were doing and what were your goals and what did you accomplish or not accomplish or wanted to accomplish but didn't accomplish. Like, all of that I'm going to be talking about with you guys today. So before we get into this video, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Please subscribe and let's get into it. Okay, so wow, the reason why I decided to do a video like this was because me and my babes was talking about this last night last night, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, but like early in the morning, like 2 o'clock in the morning. And we were just talking about our last 10 years and what we were doing and what we were accomplishing, or, you know, trying to remember certain things of the last decade. And I thought, oh my god, this would be such a cool video to film for you guys so that you guys can reflect on your last 10 years. And also to like just write it in the comments and let me know what your, you know, if you feel comfortable, what your last decade was like. I would honestly love to hear your guys' stories and see, you know, what has happened. But for me, a lot has happened in the last 10 years. And when I look at it and think about it, I'm just like, whoa, the time just like, where did the time go? Like, where did the time go? Like, things just like flew by. I don't even know, like, it just, where did the time go? Like, what? So let's go back to 2010. If I can even remember what I was doing in 2010. How old was I in 2010? So I had just graduated high school. So technically I would have graduated high school in 2009, but a lot was going on in my life, and high school was a place where it was kind of like where I socialized. I didn't really take school seriously. I mean, I got by, but it wasn't a place that I took really seriously. And, you know, it was just a place for me to just have some fun, really, honestly, just have some fun. And just get away from whatever was going on in my life, my family life, all of that stuff. I ended up graduating from high school in 2010. So I took a victory lap, graduated in 2010. And after that, a lot happened. Like, I vaguely remember, but like, I was me and my best friend, who I was best friends with from the time I moved to my second high school, maybe even before my second high school. Honestly, I can't even remember at this point. But we kind of split, like our friendship kind of just started to drift as I moved out of my old neighborhood. So that was another thing, I moved out of my old neighborhood. I don't know if I was already out of my old neighborhood by then, or I was moving out. Honestly, I can't even remember. But where I'm living now, I think I've been living here for 10 years. 10 years, 9 or 10 years. That kind of happened. That friendship split. A lot was going on in my life. Working at Starbucks at the time. That was the first time I ever had like a pregnancy scare. Like, it was a lot. And at that time, I think I was 21. I was 21. I remember we moved here when I was 21 to where I'm living now. So it has to be 10 years. Like, it has to be a full decade that we've been living here. So then that was happening. And at that point in my life, like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was trying to figure myself out. I was trying to figure out my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do, you know, which was okay. Like, it was okay for me not to know what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go and where I wanted to be in my life. But, you know, and I kind of just coasted. I just worked. So I worked at Starbucks for about 2 years. And then I moved on to the job that I was at for the last 6.5 years of my life. So from 21 to 27. And I just worked. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was just going through life, really. I just wasn't really doing anything. And I was just going through life. And, you know, where I was working before the job that I have now, it was kind of like, not depressing, but it was just, all of the women there were 40 and up. Like, they were older women. There was like me and one other person that were under 30, you know, and it was just, at first, when I first got the job, I was like, oh my God, I finally have a job, because prior to that, I was just, not that I couldn't hold a job, but I couldn't find a job. They were short-term contract jobs. They were like seasonal jobs. Like, it was just a mess, and it was very hard for me to kind of find a job. So I'm very thankful that I got the job at Starbucks, and then to the last job, to the job that I had prior to the one that I have now. You know, at first, it was like, okay, cool, it was fine. Like, the first 3 years, I was like, okay, you know, I'm here, whatever. But as the years went by, I just started to realize, I'm just like, wow, like, I didn't want this to be my life. I didn't want to go into my 30s or into my 40s working a retail job, you know, being miserable, not having a man, like, and most of the women at that job, I still love them, because they're all most of them are super sweet, but, you know, it was more of that. Like, a lot of them were single, weren't married or ever married or not in a relationship. And it was just, I started to like be like, whoa, like, I started to really see what was going on, and I'm like, I don't want this for my life. Like, these women look miserable where they are, and I just don't want that. I don't want to be that person. I just don't want that for my life. And so also at that time, it was when everybody that I knew from high school was graduating. You know, everybody was graduating, and I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, everybody's graduating, moving on, doing what they're doing, and I'm just here working a retail job. Like, ew. Like, I don't want, that's not me. And especially since, as you guys watch my YouTube channel, I live a bougie life, okay? I live a little bit of bougie life. I like nice things. You know, I shop at, you know, high street stores, you know, like the Zara's and stuff like that. And I don't mind cheap or affordable, but at the same time, like, I have grown accustomed to living a certain lifestyle. And that's partly too because, you know, to my mom, you know, we never kind of went without. We always got to eat at nice restaurants growing up. We always, you know, so it kind of, you know, a little bit of that bougie-ness, but, you know, it's never that if it came to a point where I needed to tone it down that I couldn't tone it down. I like living a certain way, you know, and I was like, okay, this is just not for me anymore. This is just not the tea. Like, it was just not what was for me anymore. So I decided that in 2015, actually prior to 2015, I think it was 2013, I decided that, you know what, I'm gonna take some courses and try to get into nursing. Like, I used to be that girl who used to watch the TLC, ER, like gory, gross stuff while eating dinner. Like, I was that type of person, and, you know, my mom thought, and I also thought that maybe I would get into like medicine or something of that sort. You know, so I'm like, okay, let me try the nursing thing, see what happens with that. And I did a few online courses at a college out of province. I realized very quickly that, whoa, this is a lot. It was hard for me to retain. It was just a lot, like science, biology, chemistry, physics. It's a lot, okay? It is a lot. I applaud people who are fantastic at math and sciences. Like, kudos to you. Like, because I couldn't. It just got too hard. My mom was helping me. Like, it was, so I decided, okay, you know what? That's not the route that I'm gonna go with. And then I continued working, and then I decided, you know, I'm gonna go back to school and jump into human resources. Now, also at that time, I was going through a lot in my life, like a lot in my life, like a lot of family stuff. From my old home moved with me, because my mom and I, we moved, and my brother moved, I think twice, from here to 2 other places before we settled into the apartment building that we are now, and we've been here ever since. But it was honestly like a roller coaster. It was, you know, it was hard for me. I was going through a lot, you know. My dad was a piece of shit, you know, and I was just struggling with a lot in life, like not figuring out what I want to do with my life, but also like my dad was a piece of shit, and my entire side of my dad's family like just abandoned me and just like whatever, because I grew up with them. That's a whole nother thing. So it was just like a whole lot of family crap that was going on. I just was in a place where I was just like, okay, everything was not settled in my life. Also too, I lacked the confidence. Like I didn't feel like I was good enough. I didn't feel like I could do it. I didn't feel like I was smart enough. I didn't feel like any of that stuff. Also too, like me and my mom were at odds. It was just a lot going on at that time. Between like 17 to 21 was a rough time. And then 21 I was here. I believe 2021 I was already living where I'm living right now. So, and that 21 is kind of like when I settled down and started like calming down, and like my mood shifted and I wasn't so angry, and like things kind of shifted at 21. That's kind of like when I decided, I don't know if it was 21, but I don't know, when I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna apply to school. Let's see what happens. So I applied to school. I was like, just apply to George Brown, which is a college, and see what happens. You don't know, like just do it and see what happens. So I applied to school and I kind of just left it and whatever, and then I got a letter that I got into school, and this was for September of 2015. So this was in the year of 2015, and I literally like broke down. I started crying. I was like, oh my god, like, you know, and I cried to my mom and stuff like that, because me and my mom were kind of at odds. And at that moment, like we were still kind of at odds, but then like I showed her the letter, I started bawling, I started crying, and it was just a shift, you know, for me. And so for those 3 years, I went to school up until I graduated in April 2018. Being in college was such a confidence booster for me. Like, so I know I have a large part of my audience is from the US. So here, and I know they have it in the States, but here we have college and then we have university. And I know that in the US, you guys call your university colleges. But university is what you guys consider college, is we call it university. And then we have college. So we have two separate institutions. So just to clarify that, in case people thought it was like the college was the university, but no, it's two separate. College. When I was in college, it honestly was a confidence booster. It was a time where I was starting to figure me out, kind of thing. And in that time that I was trying to figure me out, I started also figuring out my sexuality, and figuring out, oh my gosh, like I also like women, you know, and that I actually want to explore that and see what happens. Because it's crazy to think about it, because prior to that and prior to my first same-sex relationship with my ex, I was single for 7 years. And I think about it and I'm like, is that why I was single for 7 years? Because, you know, the universe is trying to tell me, girl, you need to figure out, there's something coming that you're gonna realize that you're gonna need to figure out, and we're just gonna leave you single until you get the chance to figure that out. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like that's probably why I was single for so long. And it honestly, being single for 7 years was very sad. Like, it was a very sad time. It was a very, very sad time. But I'm happy looking back that I was single for that long, because all the relationships and situationships that I was in taught me a lot, but also it led me to where I'm at in my life and in my sexuality and in my relationships at this point. And so I started to explore that. So shout out to my girl Corey, because she was the one who was like, you like girls? Okay, cool. here's a site, check it out, da 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 da. And I was like super nervous. Like, don't get me wrong, I was like super nervous and like, oh my god. And it's crazy because I found my ex in like the first month or less of being on a dating site. And her and I were together for 2 years. And that was a learning experience in itself. And you know, that relationship with her showed me certain things. Showed me that, oh my gosh, like I can actually be loved. Like someone actually genuinely likes me. Because I thought that I was gonna be single for forever. I thought that no one ain't gonna want me. I just thought a whole lot that, you know, I was getting very discouraged in ever being in a relationship. So being in that relationship made me feel like, wow, like someone really cares, someone really likes me, someone really wants to take their time with me, you know, someone really wants to like be there for me and be with me and all that kind of stuff. So that relationship showed me that, you know. And also in that time, I was going through a transition. Now, I know that there probably are some of you who are going through that right now, and where we have transitional points in our life where we grow. Okay, literally where we grow. I was going through that as well, like figuring out what I like, also like getting rid of toxic people who were not on my growth level, you know. And and honestly, it's not a bad thing to say. It's not, because everybody's on their own path, everybody's at their own maturity levels, everybody's at their own stage of whatever, you know. And for me, a lot of people that I was hanging with and chilling with weren't on my level, and started to really make me feel like I was less than, like I wasn't deserving, like I wasn't, you know, that they didn't really want to be my friend, you know what I mean? And so I just cut those people off, and it was a very lonely time where you just cut people off, not really cut them off, but like just kind of transition your way of not really being friends and seeing them and talking to them and all that stuff anymore. And it is lonely. That was a needed thing for me, and that was a big part of my growth and where I wanted to be. And this was all in between 2014, 15, 16-ish, around there. You know, I know that's a very scary thing for some people when they get that realization that, oh my god, this person's not good for me. But then it's the other side of the coin of, well, then who am I gonna hang with? Who am I gonna talk to? Who am I gonna this? And sometimes those are the best times to say deuces and be on your own and reflect on you and the things that you want and the people that you want around you and everything else, okay? So that is a time to do so. And so that was going on as well, and then figuring out my sexuality, and then I got into my first same-sex relationship. And, you know, that was a learning experience. That was, you know, development for myself in terms of like relationships and how to go about them and how to talk to people and how to communicate and how to do all of that and blah, 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 blah. Because for 7 years, I was by myself. I was doing my own thing. Like, I didn't have time, like, okay, bye. Like, I had to just leave, not talk to you when I wanted to. But when you're in a committed relationship with somebody, whether it's for a short period of time or a long period of time, those things matter. You know what I mean? The communication, the caring, like it all matters. You know what I mean? Like, it all matters. You know, there was that, and then that relationship ended, which led me to the relationship that I am in now. And because of all of that I went through, I don't know how to put this, like many things happened out of that. Like my last relationship, like, she taught me a lot of things, like to just like be a little bit more softer, be a little bit more compassionate and you know, caring and stuff. Because listen, if anybody's a Capricorn, you know, we don't mess around, we don't play, we don't fuck around. Like we just don't do it, okay? So it taught me to just, you know, be a little bit more softer, you know. And now with the relationship that I am in right now, where, you know, I'm the happiest that I've ever been, you know, and that I'm truly getting the love, the support, the caring that I've always wanted. And it just so happened to come closer to the end of a decade. Like, just so crazy when I look back at it and think of how hectic and stressful and depressing and sad and angry my 20s were. Now that I'm coming out of my 20s, it's just a lot more calm. I feel a little bit more centered. It's just like, I just feel so good, you know, going into this new year. Like a lot is happening. So, you know, overall, my best moments of this entire decade was starting my YouTube channel. Actually, I started my YouTube channel in the last decade. So starting my YouTube channel because it was an outlet for me and it made me feel good, and it was just so self-gratifying doing my own thing when I wanted to and how I wanted to, which was awesome. Going to school, that was another big milestone for me. Graduating from college, that was huge. And my last two relationships, well, my last relationship and the one that I'm in now, you know, were learning, but also like moments that I will never forget. Because my last relationship, she was the first girl that I ever was with, the first person to love me, you know, the first, all of that, you know what I mean? So, you know, that was also, you know, shout out to, you know what I mean? Like, I give my props where it's due, whether or not we're not together or not, you know what I mean? People come in your life and show you things and, you know, are there to, yeah, show you things for that time, you know what I mean? Whether it's a short period of time or a long period of time. So I really definitely appreciate my past relationship, which makes me even appreciate my current relationship even more. And I couldn't be happier going into a new decade with my new partner. We will be going into our second year of our relationship in this decade. We have a lot of plans for 2020. One being us making a semi-permanent move. And I know I've said it a little bit. I will go into more details and explain why and where I'm going, why I'm going, all of that soon enough. But yeah, a lot in store. Like, I have things that I want to, I already wrote down a list, and I kept it a short list of realistic and things that are needed to do at the top of 2020. Yeah, I'm just excited to do that. You know what I mean? Excited to just get things going. The last decade was definitely a decade of learning, definitely a decade of growth, definitely a decade of emotions, a decade of figuring myself out. And I'm still figuring myself out, but I feel like your 20s is your year of really just fucking up. Honestly, point blank period, just messing up and not being perfect. I mean, like, life isn't perfect, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like, going through the motions, bumping into those walls, tripping over those rocks. I don't know, I'm just looking back and being like, wow, all of that led up to what I'm doing, where I'm at, and who I'm with in this new decade. Like, it's crazy to think about. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share on looking back at the last decade, the last 20 years, the last 10 years, 2010 up to 2020. That is, it blows my mind, like, to think about it. Because when you go into years, like, oh, 2015, 2016, 2017, but 2020, you know what I mean? Like, I had this conversation with a lot of people at work and stuff, and they're like, yeah, this just feels weird going into 2020. Like, it's a little weird. It's a little weird. But I'm super excited for what is to come for this new year. You know, I'm gonna be revamping my channel. Well, actually, by now, if you haven't noticed, my channel name is different and my banner. So I just simply changed it to AKILAH J. And I feel like it's fitting because I'm getting older. Like, Simply Chic is so cute. It's a cute name. It came from a place of what my style is like, which is simple but chic. I'm a grown ass woman now. I can't be rolling around with those names. And if you look at all other YouTubers' names, they're simple, you know. James Charles, Aaliyah J, Totsi, Desi Perkins, Katie. Like, it's just their name. It's just very simple and to the point. So, you know, I hope this change is not something that's like crazy. I mean, it's my name. Like, so I just literally changed to AKILAH J, and J is for my last name. I don't want anyone thinking I'm trying to be like, trying to take Aaliyah J's name or any of that. It's just my last name starts with a J, and it's just simple and it's clean, and yeah, it's just, you know, start of a new decade. You know, I'm coming into my 30s, and I just want it to be just my name. That's it. Simple as that. I hope you guys enjoyed me talking. This was like a 30-minute video, but I mean, hello, I'm looking back on the last 10 years, so it's gonna be a lot. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, comment, and subscribe. Also, please share. I would love for you guys to share your stories of what your last decade was like. I would love to hear them if you guys feel comfortable just talking about it in the description. But other than that, Happy New Year. I hope the start of your new year is amazing, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Mwah. Bye, guys.